Good morning and good afternoon to our friends in Europe. Thanks everyone for joining the session today. I'm Hoda, your host for the webinar. This webinar will look at a real-life case study on how B2B gift and home wholesaler SULLIVANS is personalizing retailers' online shopping experience to boost sales and nurture better retailer relationships on both their website and emails. We're very excited to have Elizabeth Cordero, Online Marketing Manager from our partner company Whereoware, to walk us through actions B2B brands can take to leverage personalization to meet their own unique business goals. The webinar will be recorded and the slides will be sent out after the webinar. If you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to type them in the chat room and we'll address them in the QA section. Next slide, please. I just want to give you a quick introduction to EPISERVER and what we do. Next slide, please. EPISERVER provides a software platform that has brought together the convergence of three different market segments: web content management, software that you would use to build and manage websites, digital marketing tools, ways to tune and optimize the performance of web or mobile experiences, and then most importantly, bringing in digital commerce so that the experiences you're creating with the EPISERVER platform can expand beyond just marketing or just sales, but really bridge the gap between the two. Because our customers tell us that their customers are expecting that kind of seamless journey across their entire digital experience and their purchasing process. Next slide, please. With that focus in mind, just to make sure that you know about EPISERVER and our background, we have quite a strong presence around the world, almost 9,000 customers. Over 30,000 digital web experiences have been built, delivered, and optimized on the EPISERVER platform. We have a very large number of users, and from a transactional standpoint, a lot of growth merchandise value running through the EPISERVER platform each year. We do also have a very strong focus just on digital experience. We continue to look for interesting technologies to bring together into the platform and make it easier for your customers to create and manage digital experiences and deliver them from the cloud. We also have a strong support in terms of our partner network and a large member community that is specially focused on software development and has an open source feel to it, as the community self-supports and shares open source examples. Next slide, please. So that's a little bit about EPISERVER, but I wanted to mention a little bit about our customers as well. When we talk to our customers, their primary focus is to serve their customers in a better way. And many times they're going through an exercise to map out the customer's journey. This is a simple diagram that shows a variety of stages, and I think what we typically find is that most organizations will have a bit of a separation between different departments. And maybe the marketing team that is focused on the front end of the process, thinking about new customer acquisition, trying to gain visibility of their message or become trusted and an authority in their particular subject area. But it falls to other parts of the organizations to get to ultimate engagement and get the sales process towards that conversion. And there's a lot of value in recreating the loyalty loop, where you can take customers that have converted a long time ago and bring them back to the beginning of the cycle and have them move through that process again. The whole point here is that the digital experience creation process is not something that's managed by just one group. It's actually a customer experience and has digital components to it, one of which is personalization that we'll cover in this presentation. So with that, let's get started. Liz, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Hoda. Thank you for the introduction. Welcome to everybody. As you know, I'm Elizabeth, and today I'm going to be talking about B2B personalization. I'm an online marketing manager at Whereoware, a digital agency comprised of three facets: website, email, and mobile app design and development. Geek chic, as we like to call ourselves. So we have a pretty diverse group of clients, many of whom are considered leaders in their industry. And though our clients have a lot of different needs and different kinds of their own customers, the vast majority of them do have one major thing in common. They all feel the need to deliver a relevant and personalized experience to their customers. Whether they serve consumers or retailers, tailoring the digital experience remains a top priority for all of them. That's where we come in. One of our many focus areas at Whereoware is personalization. The core basis of that concept is to stop providing one message to everyone, what you might call blasting, and start treating customers as individuals, what you might call targeting. That's what we're going to be talking about today, and we actually have created for you a 6-step B2B personalization blueprint. We're going to walk through the steps of the blueprint as well as apply it to some real-world situations. So what is a persona? A fictional representation of large or important segments of your customers. The persona and the way that you develop your personas is at the basis of everything you'll do to personalize all of your content. Most businesses benefit from having approximately 3 to 5 personas, which represent about 80% of their customer base. Developing user personas involves 4 components, all of which work together at the same time. Using qualitative data. What do you think you know? Affinity mapping or brainstorming is a great way to get started on using qualitative data to develop your personas. This can be done a lot of different ways, but the one way we like to get started is by brainstorming the different needs, problems, and goals of your customer base, group those ideas into buckets, and then brainstorm different attributes of the individuals that make up those buckets. A lot of qualitative data is what we're pretty sure we know, and maybe it's things that have been identified by our clients, maybe it's things that we just know because they're general knowledge and industry information, but qualitative data isn't always an exact science. Mostly it's us making educated guesses and assumptions based on pretty good information. But we also need to use quantitative data, what we definitely know. Brainstorming for quantitative data involves quite a few assumptions. Brainstorming qualitative data involves quite a few assumptions. So we mix in our quantitative data to test them. We use surveys, internal data, analytics, and published studies. Then we actually build out the personas. We need to build out the details of everything. It can be a little overwhelming, so we do have a worksheet that we use, and this is going to be sent out to you via email after the webinar. Finally, we find ways to identify the personas. What behaviors or actions will people take that allows us to group them together? So we're going to just we came up with a little example here. We're going to pretend that Happy Home Accents is a company that sells home accents, furniture, and lamps to independent retailers and big box stores. This is a pretty simple, basic example, but we're going to put the actual 6 steps into context by using Happy Home Accents and a pretend customer, Whereoware Wanda. The first step in our 6-step process being to develop user personas. And we're using, remember, qualitative and quantitative data. And we know a little bit about Whereoware Wanda already. She owns an independent home goods store. She's a very busy store owner who's often interrupted during the day. We know this information because Wanda's filled out surveys in the past, and she also has past website behavior. So this is our information that tells us who Wanda is. So then we're going to actually put Wanda into the bucket of a busy store owner or an independent store owner based on everything we know about her. Then identify our goal, which is to turn Wanda into a repeat or loyal customer. Step 3 is talking to your customers. Ask them to walk you through their previous buying experience with your brand. Describe the aspects that excited them and any moments of discomfort. Ask them to identify any conflicts they felt along the way for specifics on how you could improve the shopping experience. These conversations drive the opportunities, engagements you build into the customer journey. So we're going to actually talk, Happy Home Accents is going to talk to Wanda. They're going to just ask her, how did you discover us? What motivated you to move from discovery to consideration? And there's a lot of different questions, and you need to develop the questions for yourselves that are right to discover more about your customers. Step 4 is to create and engage cross-functional teams. Align your company around a shared vision. It's going to impact success at every level. Work on the customer journey map together to encompass a company-wide perspective versus the opinions of just one department. The collaboration unearths overlooked gaps and opportunities that are difficult to pinpoint in a silo. For example, you may find the online inventory isn't updated every day, making the customer experience frustrating when they place an order and find a product isn't in stock. By getting a cross-functional team together, you can uncover solutions to these issues. The fifth step is to actually design the journey. The best starting point is to create a journey for one persona. Keep in mind that you're treating all your customers as individually as possible, not trying to develop a one-size-fits-all plan. The journey that you design for one persona can be repeatable for other personas, but tailored and tweaked based on their needs, motivations, and challenges. Finally, avoid analysis paralysis. This happens when you overthink your data and get so overwhelmed that you can't make the best possible decision, so you just freeze. It's important to consider that you may get a lot of data and maybe all of it is usable at some point, but only pick out the things that you're ready to use right now. Pick the goals that you think you can accomplish first, go for those, and then use the other data later on. So now you have a basic understanding of the path to personalization. It actually needs to be applied to your customers. Personalization can and should happen at every stage of the customer journey. And what we have up here is an example of a very basic 4-part customer journey: discovery, research, conversion, and post-sale. So we want to personalize at every point in the journey. For example, at discovery, Wanda's just becoming aware of Happy Home Accents. She's maybe spending time on the website. This is where Happy Home Accents might send an email with products she's looked at recently or products that are popular with other retailers in her area. It's important to be aware of the stage that the journey each customer is at and push the appropriate message. In discovery, a coupon's not right because they're not ready to purchase. They need more information. The customer journey is a balance between the customer's indecision to purchase and your outreach efforts to nudge them toward a purchase. Each stage is an opportunity to engage and influence your customer's decision and make them a little more comfortable converting. Personalization helps in this regard because it makes customers feel like you're listening. Providing personalized content shows that you're not just blasting the same message to everyone, and thus that not everyone is being treated the exact same way. And like I said, we do have a persona worksheet. We're going to be providing in an email following the webinar that will walk you through easy steps to develop and implement personas. So we need to actually take everything we know about personalization and apply it. Personalization really isn't just a buzzword. It truly is a better way to do business. And we do have a very simple B2B e-commerce example for you. So we still have Whereoware Wanda. She's the owner of Wanda's Home Goods, an independent retailer. She needs to restock her shelves. She's very sad because her shelves are very empty right now. And she frequently buys inventory from Happy Home Accents. So Wanda hasn't restocked in a long time, and the first thing is she gets an email. It lets her know when the last time is that she restocked, and it also mentions a product that she has purchased in the past, her favorite lamps. Not only are they in the email, but she finds out that they're on sale. At the same time the email comes to Wanda, John, her Happy Home Accent sales rep, gets a push notification. It lets him know that Wanda got the email and that her current persona is that of someone who needs to reorder or restock her shelves. So Wanda gets her email. She goes to the website. She looks around, finds the lamps, thinks they look good, adds them to her cart. She adds a few other items as well because why not? She's on the website. She could use some new things. But unfortunately, Wanda gets interrupted. She has a customer come to the store and she doesn't make her purchase. So she is now of the persona of cart abandonment. Right after that happens though, Wanda may have forgotten about the items in her cart, But Happy Home Accents has not forgotten about Wanda. Her sales rep, John, gets a hot lead notification. The notification lets him know that Wanda, who hasn't restocked in 6 months, has opened the restock email and browsed the site, did not make a purchase. But luckily, John sees that Wanda's store is nearby, and he decides that he's going to stop in and have a conversation with her about it. He wants to make sure that Wanda is getting all of the tools and information she needs to make good purchasing decisions. So John stops by, and using his special sales rep app, he's able to talk to Wanda in person and find that she wanted to get the lamps and she wanted to get the end table. She just didn't have time. She got distracted. So John is able to give her personal customer service and make sure she makes the purchase that she really wanted to make. By sending the right message at the right time and the right place, Happy Home Accents has gained a very happy lifetime customer. By digging deeper into specific stages, we'll discover ways to engage and influence customers' decisions and make them a little more comfortable converting. And I think it's just important to keep in mind that personalization can happen at any time, and nobody is just in one bucket. All of your customers are going to be in many buckets at many times, and the personalization can happen in a lot of different ways. It's not just that Wanda needed to restock. She also was very busy, and she abandoned items in her cart. So Wanda ended up having 3 personas at the end of the day. And Happy Home Accents needed to address all 3 of them, though not necessarily at the same exact time. So the key takeaways from the 6-step process. First, we need to actually develop the user personas. Know whose journey we're mapping out. Second, identify the goal of personalization and the goal of the user journey. Keeping in mind that you can have a lot of different goals. Some of your journeys may have certain goals. Others may have different goals. Some of your goals can be very simple. Some can be very lofty. Others can be quite complicated, but they have to be identified before you get started. Then talk to your customers. Don't be afraid to ask people point blank, how do you feel about us? What are your thoughts? What's frustrating? What's really great? People want to talk. Customers want to talk to you because they want to make their voice heard. Fourth, create and engage your cross-functional teams to help you map out the journey. Make sure that your different teams and departments are all working together. Make sure that everybody in the company knows what's going on and that your teams are all kept informed of every part of the journey. Then think through the entire thing. Don't just get started. You need to sit and map out your journey. Map out multiple journeys if you have to, but start with one and build from there. Finally, avoid analysis paralysis. Don't try to do everything at once. Take on small goals, small journeys, small things, baby steps. You have to be able to crawl before you can walk and walk before you can run. So now that we have our 6 steps to personalization and we've gone through an example that we came up with, we're actually going to show you how we've applied it to a real client of ours. And that's Sullivans, who is a B2B gift and home retailer. So since 1968, Sullivans has been renowned for unparalleled product quality and customer service in everyday and seasonal home decor. They recently redid their B2B website in November of 2015. The reasoning behind an entire website redo on EPISERVER was that they really wanted to personalize. Before this, their website was not capable of personalizing information, and their email program, though it did have some aspect of personalization, just wasn't quite there. We were only targeting small segments and only sometimes. We really needed the additional personalization to make their customers feel like they were really being heard and like they were really getting the right kind of content. So when you come to their website, this is the default version of their homepage. And we're going to actually walk through the Sullivan's digital experience from the perspective of a specific retailer, Rose, who sells seasonal decor. So this is our default version of their homepage, but Rose is a seasonal shopper. She sells seasonal products. So we actually have a special seasonal version of the homepage personalized just for Rose and really for any other seasonal shoppers. As you can see, it's the same layout and the same basic concept, but the content changes. So Rose, a smart shopper, goes to her seasonal homepage and ends up looking at some seasonal products. She finds something she wants to buy, except she can't add it to her cart at this point because she's not logged in. So we actually have a login menu that slides in from the left because we want her to log in without breaking her path to purchase. And once she's logged in, it adds additional information. So this is something that often gets overlooked, that pre and post login are two different personas. And it's a very easy starting point to say pre-login sees one piece of content and post-login sees additional content. So then Rose adds the items to her shopping cart, but Rose is busy too, and she gets interrupted when she hears the bell indicating a customer has arrived in her store. So Rose leaves everything in her cart, but we don't forget about Rose. So she gets an email a day or two later that lets her know she left her cart abandoned, she has X number of items, and it was abandoned on a certain date. She also sees additional categories to continue shopping that are relevant to her, either seasonal or sale in new arrivals or sale specifically for seasonal items. So Rose comes back to the website and sees an additional piece of personalization. Because she's in the abandoned cart program, she sees a sidebar banner reminding her that she has items in her cart and she should check out. So Rose ends up going back and shopping and adding more things, and eventually does get to the point where she's ready to check out. And as you can see, we've delivered a personalized experience for Rose, from website to email and back again to the website, providing a consistent experience across every single channel. So obviously we've talked about how it's going to impact our customers and what it looks like from their point of view, but we also need to consider how marketers can use personalization to create great campaigns. So we have another person to introduce to you today, Cindy, our busy marketer. She's responsible for all digital marketing, and she needs to respond to trends on the fly. So Cindy has a need. She wants to entice her audience to come to America's Mart, which is a B2B gift and home show in Atlanta, and she wants to develop a personalized bestsellers campaign. So she quickly puts together visitor groups based on region, and she does it both for marketing purposes in her marketing CRM, and she does it on EPISERVER. And these are based on region because we want to reach out to people who live close to Atlanta because they're more likely to come to America's Mart if they live nearby. Using EPISERVER, she's able to actually create a landing page where she can drag and drop items onto the page, and eventually she's able to personalize that page to show two different versions of it. The first version being for people who are seasonal and care about seasonal products, and the second being for people who are everyday and are interested in selling and buying everyday products. So it can be, personalization can be used obviously on your homepage. It can be used in a lot of different places in your shopping cart, but you can also use it for short-term temporary campaigns. So you can actually create 2, 3, even 5 or 6 different versions of a campaign based on your user groups. And just a couple of results from Sullivan's having a personalized website. They have had a 212% increase in site visits, a 94% increase in mobile traffic, and a 106% increase in visits from email. And just a note about mobile, that mobile itself can actually be a persona. So it's really important to think outside the box when you're creating your personas. Don't just think to yourself, well, if they live in this region, that's a persona. It's not just geographic. It's not just based on the demographics. It can be based on behaviors. So mobile itself really is truly a persona. So they've seen really great results so far from a personalized website, and we're going to continue to personalize both their website and their email marketing. So that's all that we have today about personalization, and if you do have additional questions, obviously you can always get in touch with us.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. We do have a couple of questions, and everybody else, if you haven't typed in your questions, please do so. So the first question we have from Rachel. She's asking, where do you set up personas, on the website or in SilverPop? If you set it up in one place, do you have to also set it up in the other?
Okay, thank you. That's a really good question. So specifically for SilverPop and EPISERVER, you can actually set up your personas in either place. So you can set them up in SilverPop and then via EPISERVER. So you would basically set them up as actual database values. And then in EPISERVER, you would set it up to say, if SilverPop database value is this, then that's their persona. But you could also use EPISERVER visitor groups to create personas just off website, purely website data. So it definitely is a case-by-case basis of where you want to set it up, and it sort of depends on where the information is being held. And so we usually do a mixture of both.
All right, the second question we have is, what if my website is not mobile friendly yet? Can I still create and use a mobile persona?
Well, yeah, you can definitely create it, and it actually would be really fantastic, especially if you're using a multi-column layout. You could always have a special page that's a mobile landing page that utilizes single column layout, because it will create a better experience even if it's not technically a mobile responsive site. And you can use mobile to personalize content, like instead of saying click here on a button, you could say tap here. So there's a lot of small things you can do to personalize for mobile.
Thanks, Elizabeth. That's all the questions we have today. If you think of a question after the webinar, send it to us via email. And we'll make sure to respond to those. Thank you so much for joining us today, and the webinar has been recorded, and we'll be sharing the slides with you after the webinar via email. Have a good day, everyone.